She advised Leonardo DiCaprio on art investments, lectured at museums, and then quietly stole millions from her own clients. Lisa Schiff was once a trusted insider, now turned to a fraudster. This is a true story about greed and how easily status can blind people, and how the art world's obsession with exclusivity made it the perfect place to hide a scam in plain sight. Before we continue, take a moment to subscribe so you don't miss out on future art videos. You might not know Lisa Schiff's name offhand, but in the art world, she was a familiar face, especially if you were rich. She built a career as an art advisor, guiding wealthy collectors through the maze of buying and selling fine art. Her name popped up in glossy magazines. She gave lectures at major institutions, and at one point even advised Hollywood celebrities. That alone gave her an aura of credibility and access, but the image didn't match the reality. Beginning 2023, Schiff was at the center of a massive fraud case, and what makes it so unsettling is how long she got away with it, how deep the trust went, and how fragile the whole system really is. Lisa Schiff grew up in Florida and studied art history, first at the University of Michigan, then later at the University of Miami. She started working in galleries and auction houses in the early 90s. Over the next decade, she positioned herself as a tastemaker. She was someone who could help collectors navigate a chaotic art market and spot the next big thing. In 2002, she launched Schiff Fine Art, which eventually opened offices in New York, Los Angeles, and London. She was the middlewoman, a connector. She would broker deals between collectors, artists, galleries, and auction houses and take a cut. That setup isn't unusual, but Lisa took it further. She branded herself as someone with not just good taste, but ethics. Her clients weren't just casual collectors. They were high net worth investors, real estate heirs, and people with more money than time. Schiff promised them access to hot artists, early sales, and exclusive pieces. And for a long time, she delivered, or at least it looked that way. The first major sign that something was wrong came in May 2023. A lawsuit was filed by two of Schiff's longtime clients, Candice Barash and Richard Grossman. They had invested in an artwork by Adrian Guiney, who was one of the most sought-after painters at that point. Schiff was supposed to sell the painting and return their share of the profits. But when the money didn't show up, they started asking questions. Schiff gave excuses, then she went silent. Eventually, she admitted she had spent the money. That case opened the door. What followed was a closer look at her dealings over several years. What emerged was a pattern. Schiff had been taking money from clients for artworks, either never purchasing the works or only paying for part of them. In other cases, she sold art on their behalf, but never handed over the proceeds. Over time, this added up to millions. According to court records, at least $6.4 million was unaccounted for. At least 12 clients were defrauded, one artist, the estate of another client, and even a gallery. This wasn't a slip-up, it was a sustained deception. By the time the lawsuit hit, Schiff was already in trouble. She tried to hide how bad things were by stalling payments and trying to calm people down while the hole got deeper. She checked herself into rehab in 2020, citing alcohol addiction and what she called reckless behavior. She told friends she wanted to turn things around, but she didn't. After leaving the clinic, she went right back to the same schemes. When she finally confessed, she fled a meeting in Manhattan, literally ran down the street after telling a client the money was gone. The reaction from the art world was one of shock, but also a weird kind of disbelief. People asked themselves, how could someone who seemed so in the know pull something like this off for so long? How did no one see it coming? But the answer is, some people did. They just didn't act on it. This case isn't just about one person. It says something about the larger culture of art, advising and collecting, especially at the top. Lisa Schiff didn't trick amateurs. Her clients were insiders. One of them, Adam Scheffer, was a former president of the Art Dealers Association of America. He had even served as an expert witness in another major art fraud case. He knew the risks. He knew how these things worked. And he still trusted her. Why? Because relationships in the art world are often personal first, business second. Schiff built friendships with her clients. They texted every day, traveled together, let her manage huge sums with no oversight. One even gave her access to storage accounts and credit cards. That's not unusual. The art market runs on trust, but that's also why it's so vulnerable. There's often no paper trail, no contracts, and no one checking the books. In October 2024, Lisa Schiff pleaded guilty to 1 count of wire fraud. She admitted to the theft and turned over documents detailing her crimes. Her company filed for bankruptcy, and the legal process is now sorting out what can be recovered, if anything. She faced up to 20 years in prison. Prosecutors wanted 3 to 4. For now, she's living in a Manhattan apartment, paid for by her parents. She spends her time building Lego models and going to Alcoholics Anonymous meetings. On March 19, 2025, Lisa Schiff was sentenced to 30 months in federal prison. She pleaded guilty to wire fraud, admitting she'd secretly sold clients' artworks and used their money to fund her own lifestyle, stealing around $6.5 million. Beyond her prison time, Schiff now owes more than $9 million to her victims and has to give up almost $6.5 million of her own assets. It's a harsh ending for someone who once advised Hollywood stars and talked publicly about making the art world fairer. Schiff will start serving her sentence on July 1st, 2025. It's a reminder that in the art world, as in life, actions catch up with you. But beyond her personal outcome, this case is a cautionary tale about greed and about what happens when a market trades trust for status. When money flows freely but no one asks questions. Lisa Schiff wasn't a mastermind. She just took advantage of a system that never bothered to protect itself. This is how fraud happens in industries full of smart people. It's not about being clever. It's about being trusted and not questioned. The art world is full of surprises, and we're just scratching the surface. Subscribe, drop a like, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Could this kind of thing happen again? Or has the art world finally learned its lesson?